Welcome to Intuitive Seek. My name is Mary Train, and as an intuitive guide, energy healer, and meditation teacher, I aim to bring you a grounded approach to all things energy and intuition. Everything I share is with the hope to help you remember how your unique power of intuition is your own greatest teacher. Welcome to 2026. Happy New Year. Happy January. I am, so happy to be sharing these energy impressions with you. I just got done with the meditation and I wanted to dive right in so I could have this out for you on the first. And let's get into it. I hope that your holidays, whether they were good or maybe a bit challenging, I hope you're able to take some time today, whether you're listening on the first or a few days after. I hope you're able to take some time to really connect with yourself, do some journaling. Of course, I will offer some journal prompts at the end of this episode, but it's always a good idea to check in with yourself, check in with what you would love this year to open up for you, and not in a way that puts pressure on yourself, but a way that you can connect to the feelings and the emotions and hopefully the excitement around what you want to do this year. And before we get into the energy impressions, welcome to anyone who is new and welcome back to everyone who has been with me before. In these energy impressions, I go into a really nice deep meditation with the intention to receive insight, guidance, any clarity that could help us remember what we already know. And it's also a great way to develop your intuition, to trust what resonates and to release what doesn't. Don't try to fit anything that I share into your life. Really trust that whatever I share, if something feels like I'm speaking directly to you, then trust that it's for you. And if it doesn't, trust that too. And I always try my very best to translate intuitively everything that I experience in the meditation to you as clearly as possible to help us and to maybe offer more of a guiding light into our month and what could be the most impactful for us as we move through this new year. So, yes, listen with discernment, trust your intuition, and I will share what came through in the meditation. And then I will share the animal that came through for the month, and then some writing prompts, journal prompts to help you dive even deeper into yourself and the language of your own intuition. So when I opened up the meditation, the very first thing, it was quite vivid, as they have been all last year and this year, but again, very vivid. The meditation opened up with us standing with vines and kind of green roots, almost like kind of the tuber roots of an orchid, and they were wrapped around our arms and our hands. And it wasn't scary, but we were definitely being held and we were wanting to break free. We were grasping our fists and really clenching them, clenching our arms. We were struggling to move, wanting these vines and roots, these bright green vines and roots, to let go of us, to let us move, to let us be free. And as we were doing that, there also was a knot in our solar plexus, in our stomach, and at the same time, quite a bit of activity and heat in our throats. And then immediately after I kind of felt that in the meditation through our solar plexus and our throats, we unfurled our fists. We kind of relaxed any tension in our arms, and we almost leaned back almost like a trust fall, but we didn't fall. We really relaxed into our whole body. And as we did that, right away, the vines and the green roots released. They opened up. They let go of our hands and our arms, and we were able to step forward. But we didn't step forward. This was the cool part. So many unexpected things always in the meditations, but we didn't step forward. We glided forward. And it felt like that fun kind of sliding in your socks on a really smooth floor. It felt fun, like we had been released from whatever was holding us back, this restraint, by relaxing, by trusting. And then we moved forward in a really playful way. So, what does this mean? What does this mean for January? What is the message? Well, it feels like this month, this first month of 2026, we could have the opportunity to release ourselves from the constraints, perceived constraints of our present circumstances. That we could stop fighting against what we maybe believe is holding us back. That we can relax into the present, into ourselves. We can kind of trust fall into ourselves. Almost like, yeah, it almost felt like that final point before the big change, that final resistance that only we can release ourselves from, that only we have the key for, which is one of the reasons, just sidebar, one of the reasons I call my 4-month journey that I do one-on-one with clients, I call it the key because that's the whole point, is to remember and clear and release and reclaim that part of ourselves that is the key to unlock everything that we believe is not available to us. But it is. It's waiting for us to relax and trust fall into ourselves. So in the meditation for January, that does feel like part of the invitation to really pay attention to when we are reacting or acting or making decisions and choices based on what we feel like we are being held back or in place by, what we are being constrained by, and if that is really out of our control. That maybe that shift into, why do I need to fight this? Why am I not remembering my power? Why am I not remembering that I can really release whatever I feel is in my way by shifting my perspective? And then the knot in our solar plexus in the stomach at the same time as that energy that I'm feeling in the throat. Well, the solar plexus, it does. The energy center holds the energy of our trust. That's where it's held, where we can express it and access the wealth of it. And those constraints that we feel are holding us back, they do feel connected to that knot in the stomach, in the solar plexus, as a sign of the lack of trust in ourself and in our world and in the support and the opportunities that we have that we may not be seeing because we are focusing on what is holding us back from moving forward. And now the green roots, they do remind me of money. And the roots of our money but perhaps the roots of our beliefs around money, our feelings towards money, our money problems, the root of not trusting in the security we desire, or even feeling secure when you most likely have more than a giant population of the world. So this could point to in January that we have the opportunity to work on our attitude towards money and really using the word money, not just abundance, but money. What are the roots of the stories that hold us back from receiving or going for what we really desire? What's holding you back from the way you want to make money? How are you feeling when you have money? What are you feeling when you look at maybe some debt that you have? And the roots do feel connected to family. And maybe this is the month, this January, this first month, this is the month to really find your views and your mindset and your beliefs, some call them blocks, that you have inherited around money, around making money and saving money and having money and giving money away and receiving money. Pay attention to how you feel. When I said money so many times, that's a big sign. But how can you set yourself up with a new point of view around your money? How you make it, how you receive it, how you give it away, how you hold it. How does it make you feel? This year does feel like it could be extremely abundant for many of us. But that means when that opportunity is there, that we do have to kind of look at what is in the way of us and that desire. And if you're not sure about kind of what you've inherited around money, pay attention to your feelings, how you feel when you are given money, how you feel when you make money, how you feel when you pay a bill, how you feel when you give money away. Like, really pay attention to your feelings. When do you not feel relaxed? When do you feel constrained? Like, for instance, for me personally, I was really modeled that making money was possible, but you had to work a lot all the time. And it was not work that you wanted. It wasn't what you loved to do. It was that old adage of that's why they call it work, because you don't want to do it. And that's why you get paid for it. And this belief was ingrained in me completely. And that's why it took me until almost my 40s to leave a job that paid me very well, but that I didn't enjoy and didn't serve me the way that my work does now. So, what is yours? What is that thing that you have a belief around with your money that is not actually yours? That is not your belief. That is not your quote unquote story. And how can you shift that? How can you find the truth within yourself? Well, you have to really pay attention to what you desire and what you feel and how you react in a day-to-day with your money. But also those green roots that are holding us in the meditation until we relax and trust and stop fighting against what is holding us back or in our way. Because of that green, it also reminds me of the heart. And you can do that same kind of inventory with your heart and love. What was modeled for you? What have you not seen? What do you believe to be true about yourself and love? And that does make me remember that in my energy work, as doing any intuitive reading and energy healing, it's a a mix of modalities with my abilities, but the way that I connect to and see the energy connected to money is very similar to the way I see and perceive the energy in someone's field around love. So, money and love, the way that the energy moves and the way that I perceive it, is almost exactly the same. They are so connected. And then they are also very similar to the way that trust moves within our body. So they are fully connected. And I know I'm not the first person to say that for sure, but I've definitely experienced it. So wherever you are feeling constrained, held back, limited in your money and your love, this month is the time that many of us could be breaking free of our self-imposed limitations and breaking free not by pushing and fighting and, really working so hard to break free, but the opposite, by relaxing into ourselves, into trust, being really clear about what we desire and what we are capable of and our potential and what we already have, the love and the support and the money that we already have, and being very clear that you know that, so that you are not always looking for what you don't have. And then in the meditation, it was also very clear that after we break through, break free, release those limitations, that final point before the next cycle, the next journey, that final point of transformation, it's that tension before we walk through the door where we remember that we had the power all along. It's like the Wizard of Oz. When Dorothy is told, well, you had the power to go home this whole time. That the journey was for her to remember that it was within her since the beginning. And it feels like January is like that. That it is a month where the energy is supporting us to remember that all of the hardship and challenge and work and breakdowns and breakthroughs and everything in between, the grief, the sadness, the happiness, the joy, the excitement, the disappointment, that everything that we've moved through has been helping us remember that what we've been looking for has been here within us all along. And by releasing what is not ours to carry, not our story, not our belief, then we find that truth inside of us. We let our soul breathe. And then what happens after we're truly released from all of those self-imposed constraints, those roots wrapped around our arms and our hands, and we relax into ourselves. We step forward, but we don't march forward. I was shown that we glide. We glide. We glide with ease. It felt fun and easy. So it feels like this month, January, feels like whatever felt super hard. January could show us that it could actually be much easier if you allow yourself to trust yourself, if you allow yourself to relax, to reach for that co-creator, that partner, whether it be your higher self or the universe or God. Some say spirit, right? Or creator. Whatever you connect with. Trust and connect and be patient. Because relaxing into yourself this way, letting your soul breathe, that's not a fast action. So it does feel like patience is also something to be aware of this month. And through all of this release and breaking free of self imposed limitations, working on relaxing and connecting to and opening and balancing our solar plexus and our throat, that a lot of emotion can come from that. A lot of feelings can start moving. So maybe a sign to not hold back how you're feeling, but just allow yourself to feel, but try not to put too much meaning on the feelings that bubble up, because maybe this is part of breaking free too. So paying attention to the wealth of emotions, but not diving into them. And then speaking of that throat in the meditation, that fire, that heat in our throat, this felt like action, energy, speaking, singing, writing, expression. That could be drawing and cooking and creating anything. This could be a really important part of this month in how you learn how to relax into your whole being. The creative expression by sharing yourself, allowing your throat to express whatever is coming through, speaking something into being, sharing something, shifting the energy by allowing yourself, express the emotion. This is how we can really relax into our soul. That's a way to let your soul breathe, by allowing your creativity to have a voice. And it doesn't have to be a literal voice. It can be in so many ways. Whatever comes to you. Don't limit yourself. So this month does feel like the opportunity is release ourselves from self-imposed limitations. What did we have all along? What are we carrying in belief, in idea that has been given to us or conditioned? What kind of ancestral limitation, ancestral thought and belief can you finally break free from for your whole family? It can be that big. It doesn't have to be. Don't put pressure on yourself, but it could be that big this month. This month, by allowing yourself to release what is holding you back, perceived holding you back, this could set us up for the most beautiful, the most incredible, the most abundant year in material, money, but also spiritually and emotionally and mentally, really living. So, what is in the way of you living? That's another way to say it. And the animal that came through in the meditation for January was the frog, a really beautiful green frog. And before I dive into the meaning of the frog, I did want to share that after I was thinking about and feeling into the frog, it reminded me that blue and yellow make green. And blue represents the throat energy center, and the yellow represents the solar plexus energy center. So yellow and blue, our solar plexus and our throat, equals green, which represents our heart. And this feels like this connection is a reminder that this month, by taking care and paying attention to our solar plexus and our throat, our voice, that we are strengthening and also caring for our hearts. So maybe this month, our hearts are going to go through a change, a transformation too, but in a way that serves our soul. And it feels like the frog is reminding us of that as well. And also connects quite beautifully to everything that I shared about how I translated what came through in the meditation. So the frog for January represents so many things. So, as I share what the frog represents, symbolizes the energy of, trust how whatever I say connects with you. So, the frog represents the energy of releasing, cleansing, transformation, creative inspiration, life cycles, healing, empathic energy, new growth, lunar cycles, authentic voice, power of emotion, self love, heart healing, and soul potential. And trust how those words connected for you. Which one stood out for you? Which one do you feel like could be a point of focus for this month and really inspire you? And I wanted to share an excerpt from, you guessed it, Animal Speak by Ted Andrews. I do love that book, as you know, and if you're new, it's a book that has so many cross-cultural meanings and symbolism. So it's a really big source of knowledge and information. And as I was reading about the frog, this excerpt really stood out to me. And as I read, just like with the symbolism that the frog represents, trust what connects, trust what resonates, and yeah, let me get into more about the frog from Animal Speak. So, the theme of the frog is transformation through water and sound. Frogs have an ancient mythology about them. Being amphibians with the links to the water and the land, they are often associated with the magic of both elements. This also links them to the lore of fairies and elves. Many shamanic societies, especially North and South American, link the frog with rain and control of the weather. Its voice is said to call forth the rains. Because of its connection to water, it is also linked to lunar energies. The moon moves the tides of waters upon the planet, and those goddesses associated with the moon. The frog was an animal attributed to the Egyptian goddess Heret, who assisted Isis in her ritual for resurrecting Osiris. Frogs have been known to be heralds of abundance and fertility. The frog is a totem of metamorphosis. It is a symbol of coming into one's own creative power. It changes from an egg to a pollywog to a frog. Even after it becomes a frog, it lives close to and spends much time in the water. It always has contact with the creative force out of which it came. This connection to water should also serve as a reminder. Are you becoming too mundane? Are you becoming mired in the mud of your day-to-day life? Are you needing to dive into some fresh creative water? Are those around you? Are you feeling waterlogged, becoming bogged down or drowning in emotions? Its voice is said to call forth the rains. Because of its connection to water, it is also linked to lunar energies. The moon moves the tides of waters upon the planet, so it is also associated with fertility, for rain makes things grow. How does the frog's energy and symbolism and the themes, how does it inspire you? And one way to be inspired by this frog energy and symbolism is you can do your own meditation with it. You can trust and utilize your imagination as a translator for your intuition. You can put on some nice nature music or a bit of like a sound bath, anything you can find that is more meditative and puts you in a nice, relaxed, calm state, allows you to kind of fall into yourself in a beautiful way, and then bring to your mind a frog, a bright green frog, and then just allow your imagination to unfold what happens next. And you may be really surprised at what the frog does, or even says, or shows you. Keep track of anything that happens in the meditation, and then connect to the symbolism of it. Feel into it yourself first, and then you can start, moving around and Googling and seeing. And I do recommend, for anyone that is wondering, I do recommend using a search engine like Google instead of a language assistant like a chat GPT, because you want to connect your mind with your intuition. You want to be able to be working with both. And you don't want to outsource the thinking when you are trying to connect to the symbolism through research. And when you do outsource the thinking to something like ChatGPT, you tend to lose that important process of looking, recognizing, intuiting, realizing, understanding. There's a lot of parts in between rather than just kind of plugging in, tell me what this represents, and then getting like a paragraph, reading that, and then you're done. There really is something about connecting the dots on your own. And if you have the time, I would encourage you to be more conscious around that, to not outsource your intuitive connection. And here are some writing prompts, some journal prompts to help you dive even deeper into the month of January. And you can answer one or none. Really trust yourself. So, the first question you could answer now, this could be in a journal, as I said, or in a voice note to yourself, or just something you're thinking about when you go on a walk. But the first one for this month could be, what roots that formed your beliefs around money, love, and security do you need to let go? And number two, name 3 ways you feel held back or constrained right now, in this moment, from what you desire. Name 3 ways. And then, how could you shift? How could you shift these by relaxing into your trust? How could these be lifted by trusting? And number 3, what does it feel like when your soul is relaxed? Try not to overthink. What is a soul? Where is it? How is it? Try not to overthink. Use this as a writing prompt or a prompt for thought. What does it feel like when your soul is relaxed? Connect to the first thing that comes. Trust yourself to connect to the energy of it. Trust yourself to know what it feels like when your soul is relaxed. And number 4, what creative commitment can you make this month? What can you create this month and commit to it? Whether it is speaking, singing, writing, imagining, drawing, cooking, sewing, so many things. What can you commit to creating this month? This is in service of your soul. This is in service of your creative spirit. This is in service of your solar plexus and your throat, and also your heart. And thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this first episode of 2026 of Intuitive Seek. I would love to hear if you resonated with any of the energy that I received that we're moving through for this month ahead. Of course, I will be back on Monday, January 5th, for the focused energy update, which are a little bit shorter and a little bit more about what to focus on that week. But this is the overall theme, the energy impressions for the whole month. So feel free to keep coming back to this episode and maybe some of the questions you want to answer more mid-month. But don't hesitate to send me a message. You can go to the show notes, message me through my website, treenlight.com, or through my Instagram at treenlight. And for anyone who has been curious about working with me, and especially my most popular offering, which is the 4-month journey called The Key, I have 2 spaces opening up in February. This is for 4 months. This is my one-on-one 4-month container. We work together very closely. It is deep support This is life-changing soul work, and I say that because that is verbatim from testimonials, but also with practical and grounded results. The key is my signature healing process. It is really bringing you a grounded, transformative blend of modalities that are centered around deeply powerful, intuitive energy healing and reading and guidance. And it's about clearing away and releasing stagnant energetic blocks that we carry that are in the way, hurdles that are in the way of our own vital energy. And it brings you back to deep clarity and connection. I have had people who have held decades of anxiety, decades of discomfort within their physical body that is completely released afterwards. And then the practical day to day life change that comes from that change in the physical body, which is actually the change in the energetic body. I mean, there are no words for how transformative it is. And it is such an honor and true privilege to support so many incredible people from around the world with this work. And I always trust, and I've seen it, the evidence over and over again, that whoever I'm meant to work with, I work with. So if you are feeling the pull to apply, trust that. Trust the curiosity. Go to the show notes. You'll see all the info there to fill out the connection form. And then there you can request a free consultation and all of the things. If one of these spaces is waiting for you in February, if you feel like getting the one-on-one intuitive and energetic support to help you remember your purpose and how you want to express it, how you are meant to express it, if you want to transform your life fully, that's what happens. I used to be kind of shy about saying that because it felt too big or maybe not as humble or something. But after last year and all of the gigantic shifts that I saw in my one on one client work, that's what happens. Your life gets transformed in all areas, even if you're only focusing on one. So, if you would love to jumpstart your year by working with me for 4 months and then seeing what unfolds after that, then reach out. Any way you'd like, just look in the show notes and you have many ways to connect with me. But I cannot wait to meet you. And yes, thank you so much for listening and staying this long as well. So, thank you so much again. Happy New Year. Be very kind to yourself and to others around you. And I will talk to you next week.
Hi, Auntie Mary. I just wanted to say something very, very meaningful.